Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the agenda and the meeting for July 8th, 2020 School Building Committee meeting.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can I get John to call the roll, please?
Vinnie Picciarelli,
Present.
Lindsay Mosca, Dee Dee Galston,
Here.
Heidi Perkins. Nope. Lori Cable, Steve Magoon,
Present.
Tom Tracy,
Tom's on vacation this week.
Paul Anastasi,
Here.
Kelly Kurlbaum,
Present.
Leo Patterson,
Present.
Mark Sideris,
Present, John Ports.
present.
Thank you. Go ahead, Vivian.
First item on our agenda is meeting minutes approval. We had previously sent in the May 20th and June 17th meeting minutes. The May 20th did include the high school updates as part of the meeting minutes. I know that we did receive amended versions returned to us.
Can I get a motion to accept the minutes of May 20th, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 20th as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Although, can I get a roll call, please?
All right, Dee Dee Galston,
Yes.
Heidi Perkins, still not here. Lori Cable, still not here. Steve Magoon,
Yes.
Tom Tracy's not here. Paul Anastasi,
Yes.
Kelly Kurlbaum,
Yes.
Joe Patterson,
Yes.
Vinnie Picciarelli,
Yes.
Mark Sideris,
Yes.
John
John
Ports.
Ports.
Yes, yes.
Can I get a motion on the minutes of June 17th, please?
I make a motion we accept the minutes of June 17th as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? John, roll call, please.
Steve Magoon,
Yes.
Paul Anastasi,
Yes.
Kelly Kurlbaum. Kelly,
Yes.
yep. Leo Patterson,
Yes.
Vinnie Picciarelli,
Yes.
Dee Dee Galston,
Yes.
Mark Sideris,
Yes. John Ports.
yes.
Thank you. Kelly, Vivian, before we move on, there was a question, but we'll answer that question a little later on.
I noted in my response saying that we will definitely call on her during the discussion portion.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda are monthly invoices approval. We have submitted a few invoices for AI3 Architects for the month of May and June, as well as for Hill International for the month of May and June. And more recently, Great Builders pay requisition totaling for the month of June.
Can I get a motion on the approval of invoices, please?
So there's the invoices for actually I didn't.
The last invoice didn't come in, and we need to get it at least in the pipeline because we have 15 days to pay it.
The one for Bright Brothers, but
Yes, because the Hill International was reviewing it, and in their review, they brought this to my attention yesterday, and I thought that we would take the step. It's still, my suggestion is we do the first two, and then the third one we would do subject to the review of the town auditor.
So if I may, we had originally provided the pay requisition as a draft version to Tom Tracy, where it came in at a $2.6 million pending our review. Based on our review, we requested that they modify it and lower it to 2.3 that you see today.
Okay.
And once it was finalized, this is what was being submitted to the chairman for this committee to approve.
All right, that's why the numbers, I was just trying to reconcile the numbers. All right, so
Yeah,
I'll-
it was, the original was definitely higher, but based on our review, we requested that they lower it to 2.3.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the invoices for the elementary schools consisting of AI3 architects for $378,309,057. For Hill International for $165,820. And for Bright Builders Corporation for $2,311,574.43.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, can I get a roll call, John?
Okay. Steve Magoon,
Yes.
Paul Anastasi,
Yes.
Kelly Curlbaum,
Yes.
Leo Patterson,
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
Okay, Dee Dee Galston,
Yes.
Vinnie Picciarelli,
Yes?
and I think actually Lindsay,
Lindsay's
you're
here
here now,
now.
I think.
Yes.
So Lindsay, yes to the motion as well?
Yes.
Okay, and then Mark Sideris,
Yes, John Ports.
yes.
Thank you.
There are also a few invoices for the high school project that I'll go through. For Compass Management as well as for AI3. For Compass Management, there's an invoice for $6,733.50 and a few invoices for AI3 for the high school project.
Can I get a motion on the high school invoices, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the high school invoices consisting of $6,733.50 for Compass Project Management and for AI3 Architects totaling invoices totaling $102,074.84.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call again, John, sorry.
that's right. Paul Anastasi,
Yes.
Kelly Curlbaum,
Yes.
Leo Patterson,
Yes.
Vinnie Picciarelli,
Yes?
Lindsay Mosca,
Yes.
Dee Dee Galston,
Yes.
Mark Sideris,
Yes, John Ports.
yes.
Thank you.
You skipped me, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve Magoon,
Yes.
sorry.
No worries.
John, you're not a very good secretary.
I know it, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to our next topic of discussion, we wanted to provide a elementary school project update for tonight. Under a separate email, it was sent to everyone, the project budget, as well as the executive summary. I know that maybe reading them on the screen will be a little bit difficult, so please, if you don't mind, follow along on the sheet that I had provided previously.
Vivian, have these been posted to the website already?
They will be after tonight.
Okay, okay.
We were waiting for our public presentation to be made, and
Okay.
subsequent to that, we will definitely be posting this to our website.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'm not going to go through each line item by line item, but I do want to focus our attention to the budget authorized changes, which is this section right here. So there was a little over $4 million of savings after the bids came in and selection was made to go to move forward and enter into contract with Bright Builders Corporation. With that savings, we definitely made sure to reduce the construction cost by the $4,045,000 and as well as $700,000 was reduced due to the fact that we had accepted alternate one, and alternate one was covered under the cost of the construction. So $700,000, which was allocated for the photovoltaics line, was reduced. With that, we did make increases to the budget by adding $120,000 to the construction testing area, if you're following along. Those testings are procurement of independent testing of concrete, steel, soils, earthwork, and we did make sure to increase it by 120 just because we felt that there was an increase of soils testing at each site. So we wanted to make sure that that was well covered. Another area where we made changes and added is under the FF&E, the furniture, fixture, and equipment section. Each school will be allocated $75,000 combined of 150 for Hosmer and Cunniff and 75 for Lowell for their new phone system that the town has decided to move forward with. Oops. Nope. I apologize, give me. Okay. The page apparently did get cut off, but I do want to point out, I know that you have it in the version that I had forwarded to everybody. We did add 1 million to a line item that we recently created entitled COVID-19. That 1 million was part of the 4 million savings. We allocated that fund for any unforeseen expenses that we might accrue on the project due to COVID-19 related costs. And 3.4 million was the owner's soft cost contingency was increased by 3.4 million, adding the difference. Are there any questions? I apologize, on this screen, I believe during the creating this file, portion of it did get cut off, but I hope that you are following along on the version that I had forwarded previously.
Could I ask just a question on one item?
Yes, absolutely.
Mark.
Hi, John.
Okay, just clarification. You mentioned it, the photovoltaics. I don't quite understand. It's under administrative costs, and then in brackets it says 50% of roof area of the Hosmer and the Cunniff. So I'm not sure how that, it was originally budgeted at 700. How that's now being covered by construction costs? Is that the point?
No, so originally on our original design development approved budget, we had allocated $700,000 towards photovoltaics, which would cover 50% of the roof area for both the Hosmer and the Cunniff project. Knowing that the photovoltaics would come in at higher, the intent was to either cover the costs on this line item, other project costs, or to potentially do a PPA, hence the reason why we did do the analysis to see whether it would be better suited for the town to go with a PPA or to own, for the town ownership. Granted, during our bidding process, we had put a bid alternate, number one, for all the contractors to price out what the cost of putting the photovoltaics would entail. And since that came in under what we had originally budgeted for the actual cost of the construction, we were able to accept it and include it as part of the cost of the construction.
So does that mean that the line that has other project costs, miscellaneous, TBD, the original, it's still 2.558 million?
Yes. Yes, and that is up to the town's discretion on how and what they spend it on. I'm positive as the projects move forward, we're still in the very infancy state of construction.
Yep.
There will be things that come up, and that is to the discretion of the town to allocate and this committee.
So was there originally, though, an intent that some of that would cover photovoltaics?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's no longer, that wouldn't come out of there now. It's been put into either into the construction budget. Is that my understanding of it then?
Yes. We could use it for something other than that.
So the 2.558 is, there's even more kind of flexibility there than there was before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because we got such good bid
Right.
numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
we definitely had a huge, I won't say huge, but I'll select my words carefully, but we definitely had a good bid savings.
Right.
And we were
right.
with that, we were able to accept the alternate for the photovoltaics, allowing for a little bit more flexibility in the budget.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions?
Paul Anastasi has his hand up.
Yes, I have a question.
Paul?
Thank you. Curious on the $1 million COVID line item. What potentially would we be holding $1 million for? I mean, I know we don't supply the contractor with masks and hand sanitizer. Would that be delays in construction? What do we think that can be used for?
We were thinking, you're absolutely right. It would not be for any PPEs that would be needed on site because that's already covered with the contractor. But we held a little bit of money there in anticipation for some steel fabrication delays or of any other material sourcing delays that might be caused due to factory shutdowns and restarting and, delivery shipping times.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other hands up? I do see Steve Magoon,
Steve.
you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we were going to spend or have some of those costs associated with COVID-related expenditures, would any of those be potentially reimbursable from FEMA?
I'm not positive on that. I think that's something that we'll definitely work with the chairman and the town to see if there is any opportunities there. It was, our intent was that since we had some savings, instead of allocating it directly to the owner's soft cost contingency, that let's separate to see if we do actually get any delay notices or delay costs associated with COVID, and we could capture it a little bit more clean than going through the owner's soft contingency.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Vinny has his hand up.
Just before we move on to the next thing, I just want to make sure the minutes reflect that Heidi did join the meeting at 6:15. So whoever's taking the minutes for the roll, that is noted.
Thank you. Will do.
Mr. Chairman, this is Leo. I have a question.
Yes, Leo.
The COVID-related expenses, I think, is a bit of a slippery slope. So are we saying that this is the potential for contractor procurement delays only, or are we also talking about labor shortages or other things? For example, working overtime due to labor shortages?
Or some type of labor-related issues due to scaling, as well as, maintaining different, those could be incorporated as part of the line item as well. I mean, I believe
Okay.
it's going to be a case by case, Leo. I can't give you a generalization. We just wanted to make sure that we had some type of coverage. Not, granted, we had done our pre-qualifications pre-COVID, and our bid process, as well as all our documentations, had gone out to bid prior to COVID, and accepted our bids during the time of the pandemic, that we just were unsure and we didn't want to be left with not enough coverage.
No, I think it's a very smart idea. I just want to be sure that the town is clear as to what would qualify and what doesn't necessarily qualify, and that it's not just a separate contractor contingency fund. Thank you.
I would say that if it's even questionable, that the committee is going to be the one that weighs in whether it gets out of this line item or not.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not, I think we'll be closely watching this, and to Steve Magoon's point, if there's something that we could get reimbursed for, that's makes it even more critical that we really pay attention to what these requests would be out of this line item.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you very much.
I believe, John Ports, you had your hand up.
Yeah,
John?
just a quick question. Thank you. The phones for the 3 elementary schools were added in under the changes. Were they not in the original budget?
No, that was not part of the original budget when the budget was approved per the DD phase. It was discussed and added after the fact. And I think Steve Magoon would have more information. I believe, Steve, you had worked with Tom Tracy in allocating what the funding would be for that as well.
No, I don't think so. I think Tom was working on that. I
Tom
don't
was,
want- Steve, am I correct? Yeah.
okay,
Tom Tracy was working on that because the town is in the process of upgrading their phone systems, and that was being done before we started this process, and we didn't know where we were going with this process. Tom Tracy requested that in order to keep all the phones throughout the community the same, that they be added to the budget here to make sure that all the phone systems are going to be able to commingle and work with each other.
Okay. All right.
Heidi Perkins, she has her hand raised.
Oh yeah, Heidi can do that.
Thanks, Vivian. Yeah, I just wanted to add in for everybody's reference on the phone system. We also have on the CIP to replace the phone system at the middle school for just that reason. So as the 3 elementaries and the high school come on as a separate CIP item, we'll be doing at the middle school so that all the town departments only have to dial like the 5-digit extension, et cetera, instead of all the different systems we have now. So that's the context for the public, if they're listening in, of why that came about.
Thank you, Heidi.
I don't see any other questions from the committee. Is there any attendee that had a question? Seeing none, let's move on. Vivian, please.
Sure, absolutely. Next page is a example that we will be sharing and a form that we will be using to communicate with you on a monthly basis. I hear the thunder rolling in, so if I lose power, please bear with us and Tom Finnegan will take over. But this is a form that we would like to use and introduce this time around, and every month moving forward, provide you with an executive level summary. In this, we have identified major accomplishments for last month and major accomplishments we hope to achieve this coming month, as well as give you a snapshot of the upcoming schedule summary of the upcoming milestone events that to look forward to. Along with it, we will include 3 progress photos, 1 for each project, and identify here any scope changes from the original scope and the original budget. Along with it, we have a highlight of all the budget items that we just previously reviewed. So you'll notice the construction where the authorized changes, the approved budget, the design services, as well as administrative costs. The FF&Es, that includes the 225 are for the new phone systems. The owner's contingency lines, the construction contingency, the new COVID line, as well as the bid savings that went into the owner's construction soft cost, with always the total for the project below. We've also included a graphic pictorial of your cash flow. So you always know at any given point, this is our anticipated, the light green is the anticipated cash flow and the red is the actual. This is tied into our database and our budget worksheet that tracks all of the invoices to date. We'll be providing this to you on a monthly basis. Some of the high points to the project update for last month, the move did occur. Everyone is out of Cuniff, as well as the portion of the Hosmer. Brake builders have mobilized on site. We're waiting for utility disconnection so that we can begin work on preparation for demolition. Abatement is completed at Cuniff, and abatement at Hosmer should be completed by this Friday. Do I have any questions on this? I know it's a lot of information to throw at you guys all at once, but do anticipate receiving this on a monthly basis, and we will make this available on our website as well.
Questions? John Ports.
Just a couple of questions. So when you say on a monthly basis, it would be the second sheet, but not the more detailed budget sheet?
Correct. The detailed budget sheet, we don't anticipate providing that to you on a monthly basis unless you feel the need to, but all of the major points are captured here on this executive summary. All of these sheets are tied into each other, so this is not a stagnant sheet. These build on a monthly basis. So as these dates move for schedule milestones as completed, we will identify them as such. And these portions are where we go in and make the actual data entry to them so that you have kind of like high points of these are the items we accomplished last month and what to look forward to for the coming month. But the portion of budget, there is a complete spreadsheet that ties in behind it that feeds to it all of our invoice tracking, as well as any moves and authorized changes that have been made to the budget. They'll also be identified here as well in this section.
With this coming every month, that detailed budget will send out quarterly.
Yes.
Is a better, because all the important things will be at the bottom of the sheet if major expenditures, and then quarterly you'll get the more detailed breakdown that she just presented earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, I think that's fine. I do on the summary, the second sheet, the one you have there now, definitely, very helpful to list the accomplishments and kind of what's going to be happening coming up and kind of the scope of services moving forward. That's all very helpful. I like the more detailed budget,
Sure.
but if we get that quarterly, I think that's probably fine. The summary budget is a summary, but
I guess one point to note, John, that the baseline budget will never move. Any changes that are authorized will occur here.
Yep.
In this line section, and if there's any changes here to be made, they'll also be identified in this section because they'll become a scope change.
Okay.
So at this moment, since given today, we based off of the post-bid savings, we've worked with the chairman on where to allocate the savings. Now it becomes an authorized change, and this is your approved budget. So moving forward, these three lines do not change unless there is some scope change that is authorized by this committee, which will be identified here. And you'll see it once you've approved it, then the changes will be made and you'll see it in the following month.
Okay.
So you'll have a snapshot on a monthly basis and you'll clearly be able to identify what changes have happened. And on a quarterly basis, we'll give you the entire detailed behind it.
Okay.
If I may go back for a second, for example, the construction line, which you see here, it's a roll-up of, bear with me it's a roll-up of this line. It's the subtotal for the construction.
Right. Yep. No, I get it.
And all of the other lines as well. The architectural is a roll-up. The administrative costs is a roll-up. It's the subtotals for each of the major headings.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I think, quarterly, that's fine. I guess that would be okay.
Sure.
Then the other, just a minor point here, and this came, I think maybe I mentioned this to Mark earlier, in the one picture that you have up there of the, like, for the example, the Cuniff up in the right corner. So it's also on the website. I think it's the same picture that's on the website. And then there's another one on the website that shows the photovoltaics, the carport thing. And it's not on this one. I just think we ought to probably be consistent about that.
Scott did say that he was going to change that, but I'm sure we can work with Vivian and get that done.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And please note that these pictures are going to change soon enough. You're going to see the actual demolition photo of, Cuniff versus this pretty picture of what Cuniff will look like at the end. So we want to make sure that you have kind of like a visual of work in progress photos. At the moment, we don't have any demo photos, so we just kept the originals, and these will change. I guess I should have put the ribbon cutting ceremony or the groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Should have done that.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And I do see that there is a question.
Well, let's wait if there's anybody else from the committee first. I don't see one, so yes, go ahead with the attendee question.
Sure. The Anne Marie Clonan is asking, is the new phone system for all schools from elementary, middle, and high school? If so, was a full purchase amount added to the elementary school building project budget? Anne Marie, I believe we did answer this question that all of the schools will be receiving a new phone system. And the portion that is allocated for the elementary school is what is being carried on this budget of $250,000, $75,000 each for each school. So 150 total for Cuniff and Hosmer and 75 for Lowell. I hope that answers your question completely. If not, please do raise your hand or ask again. I'll give it a moment, if you don't mind, Chairman, just to see if there's any other questions from the public.
No problem.
I don't see any raised hands from the audience. So if I may, I'll continue.
Yes.
This was the conclusion of our presentation for tonight. We wanted to make sure that the invoices were approved, meeting minutes were approved, to also stay on a monthly schedule for the elementary school projects, as well as give you an updated budget summary and provide you with the executive level summary that we will be sharing on a monthly basis. Are there any other questions and comments from the committee before I go to the attendees?
Let's just, do you want to do now the communication with the neighborhood?
Sure, that was one of the questions that I was gonna go to. There was a question or a comment that Anne Marie Clonan would like to discuss the neighborhood communication concerns related to the recent traffic commission. Anne Marie, if you wouldn't mind raising your hand, I will gladly give you permission for speaking. Allow to talk.
I think before we do that, let's just roll out what we're going to do here. We're going to be offering the neighborhood an opportunity to get a weekly update by email of what's going to happen, what to be expected in your neighborhood for the upcoming week. In order to do that, we're going to need to gather email addresses from people in the neighborhood. My suggestion is going to be that we send the email addresses that you would like this update to the Building for Future at watertownmass.gov. And we will add you to the list. And once a week, there will be an email that comes out of Tom and Vivian's office to the neighborhood group, telling you what to expect in the upcoming week in your neighborhood related to construction. Vivian, have I captured what we're trying to do here?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Chairman. We also have, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll elaborate a little bit more. On our website, we created a folder, a section separate from the rest of the documents. And if I may, I'll stop, I'll try to share that with you guys. I'll stop this presentation for a second and share my screen so that everybody can see where. So this is the website, and if you go under the documents, we are working on making it a header here instead of too many clicks for the neighborhood's information. But the first folder is neighborhood information. Going there, we have all of the highlights and all of the existing plans, conditions, trees, temporary fencing. We've tried to capture a lot of the information that the community would want and need, as well as the weekly updates for Hosmer and Cuniff. Going into that section, you could choose which neighborhood you live in. If it is Hosmer, every week we will be putting in a new 3-week look ahead so that you can see exactly from brick builders, the general contractor, what they'll be working on and the items identified, as well as our neighbors. Please note, the demolition is scheduled for July 13th, Monday. Also, that utility work will take place on Hancock Street from July 6th and will last about 2 to 4 weeks. So we're trying to figure out best practices and how to communicate with the community. And one approach we felt would be to make sure to have everybody go to our website, that we could identify all of the weekly information there.
But we also want to make it easy for the neighborhood to
Absolutely.
not have to go searching on the website, where instead of a notify me, they get an email every week telling them what's going to happen. So we're trying to take some additional steps to keep the neighborhoods informed.
Yes.
We have Anne Marie and we have Lindsay Mosca as well.
Sure. I apologize if portion of my audio was broken up. As I had mentioned previously, there's a storm a brewing and it's coming my way. But we will definitely work together in capturing some of the emails, sending out notifications as much as possible, as well as updating our neighborhood information tab on our website. So if you didn't receive an email, you could always check back on the neighborhood information and be kept up to date on what's going on in those areas. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for 1 second and go back to our presentation for this evening. Lindsay, I believe you have your hand up.
I did. So the process for people to get this email will be to email buildforfuture@watertown-ma.gov. I would just suggest that people also identify which neighborhood update they want, because we won't know that based on your email address. So we would need your email address and do you want Cuniff or Hosmer?
Yes, thank you so much. Any other committee members have questions?
Can I actually ask one more question? If folks have if folks in the neighborhood and abutters and whatnot have problems or concerns with what's going on, do they use the same email to put that in, or is that a different process?
No, it's actually the same email. The emails, the Building for Future at watertown-ma.gov goes both to myself and to the chairman. So we will quickly respond, as well as if there's any concerns, we'll be able to address quickly enough. but we're trying a few different avenues to make sure that we communicate to the abutters and to both of the neighborhoods. I don't want to rely only on the website because I know that sometimes it's a little bit tricky to get to. And please do know, everybody, that we are working with the high school team as well in trying to make both of the websites a little bit more feasible for people to get to and the click-through to be less. But we do want to make sure that we communicate to the abutters in not only through our website, but also by capturing their email addresses if they want to be on the list, and we'll send them weekly updates. Most likely the weekly updates will be very similar to the 3-week look ahead that we'll already be sharing on our website. But just want to make sure that everybody is kept up to date on it. Vinny, I noticed that you also have your hand up. Lindsay, did you have any other?
Sorry, just hearing us talk about trying to make the website more accessible and that information more accessible and less clicks for people. The information that we're really trying to put out honestly just sounds like a blog, right? Like in that document, I don't know is going to feel super informative for people without any text to describe what it means, because it's kind of technical. So I'm wondering if maybe the solution to that on the website is to just have a tab that says like Hosmer progress blog and Cunniff progress blog, and we have that image or the doc that you can click on, but also a short narrative describing like a quick bulleted list about what's going on. It just like that document feels like when I looked at it, it felt bulky if I lived next door to a construction project to figure out what was important to me. That's all.
Okay. And maybe this is a great opportunity for us to re-engage the communication subcommittee in assisting us in getting all of that information a little bit more streamlined and out to the public.
I agree.
So,
thanks, Vivian.
No, thank you. So I'll be reaching out to you. Vinny, you also had your hand up.
Yes. So, if you were just sharing your screen with the website, if you go
Sure.
back to that real quick. So one of the things is that, getting people to go to this website, it shows, typically there's a URL that says something like, a series of words,
Right.
Watertown Elementary School. This website just shows the IP address.
Because it's a connection from the Watertown Public Schools. If
Right.
you go into Building for the Future, elementary home,
Right.
it directs you straight there.
Right, which is that's multiple clicks. So so what I'm saying is typically this page, instead of just having the IP address, 54.188.106.232, it would say something like,
Hello?
I bet it was riveting.
I thought it was me at first because I'm like, I hear thunder and I've been broken up so many times that I'm like, is it me?
It just hit Vinny's
No.
house.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I'd like to have a long wait time when someone has something to say, but I think we lost them. So
yeah, we'll definitely come back to him. Vinny, are you back with us?
yeah, it's things are kind of fading in and out here on Carroll Street. So
We could we'll work with the subcommittee as well as the website designer to figure out an easier click through. I definitely agree. I don't want the community going into so many different folders just to find information. It becomes cumbersome as well as frustrating. I do want it to be where, maybe like a header or something that gets the information out to everyone quickly. We'll reconvene with the subcommittee, the communication subcommittee, and figure out how we can best communicate to the abutters that isn't going to, drive them crazy.
Yeah.
Dee Dee has a suggestion here, Vivian.
Sure, we're open to it.
She said we could create a bit.ly for the website. That would be an easy solution. So I think the subcommittee can take a look at all these things to try to make it easier to navigate.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And because this website is already connected to the school, school building website, the Watertown Public Schools, maybe, we'll work with the superintendent as well as her departments, the technology department under the school building, and figure out a way where maybe we can make a banner, a header, something so that it's a little bit less cumbersome for the others. It definitely needs work, so we acknowledge that, and we'll, reconvene with the communications subcommittee to make it a little bit easier to navigate through. If you don't mind, Chairman, I'm going to go to the attendees now if nobody else has a question from the committee.
Go ahead.
Anne Marie, you had your hand up, and I hope you have ability to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. I'm hoping some of my neighbors have the ability to join in to this call as well. So many of us, or a group of us, have been attending the meetings for quite some time. I think all of you know that. And I would say it's really disheartening, the failure that happened with the community, especially the Hosmer community, in regards to changes in traffic flow. And, I appreciate the communication, and, I know how to navigate, and I already have the new neighborhood website and the schedule up. So I think it looks great. I believe that if you put a link in the agendas so that everybody can get it before or when they look at the agenda on the website, that would be an easy click as well. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, no, great suggestion.
But, we had a commitment from you, the committee, and the commitment was that you would make sure we had notification and participation, and we could voice our concerns. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that there are many people in the neighborhood that feel that that commitment fell short in what happened, because a group of us did all attend the June 18th meeting. And then to find out that there was, even before the June 18th meeting, there wasn't anything in regards to traffic flow that had communication that went back to May and early June with the Traffic Commission. Many of the neighbors didn't get to participate and voice their concerns because they didn't know about it. And, Vivian, your own words in that Traffic Commission were that you were going to seek the approval and then present it to the neighborhood. We spoke to the Traffic Commission. Multiple people have called to Sergeant Sampson and Mr. Lon, and I just want to make sure that we have a commitment not just for the project, but for also that anything that involves activities or committees outside of the school building committee, that consideration is, we make sure that the neighbors know that, because that took away our right to actively participate as we should have had. And so I'd just like to hear from the committee where the breakdown was, because we don't understand.
Vivian, first of all, I want to take the opportunity to apologize, because that's all I can do at this point. And it appears that we fell short, and I'll be the first to admit that. But as you can see, we're trying to rectify that as we move forward, so this does not happen again. And I was one of the people that made these commitments. And again, I apologize, and we're gonna continue to try to make sure it doesn't happen, but unfortunately it did. And I don't wanna, we're not gonna start pointing fingers at this point. I don't think that's appropriate. We will do the best we can with all of these things that we're putting into place so that it doesn't happen again. And hopefully the communication will remain open and transparent, and everybody will have an opportunity to have their say. Vivian, did you have anything to add to that, or?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And Anne Marie, again, we apologize if we did fall short in delivering the message to you earlier. It was, it wasn't intentional by any means, but if you are able to see my screen, I have shared with you that the document that was revised based off of the sergeant's and the traffic commission's approval for traffic flow during construction for the Hosmer neighborhood. And we have made sure to include that on the website as well. Not only for Hosmer, but also for Cuniff. Right now on your screen, you should be able to see the one for Hosmer, but for those listening in that need to review the one for Cuniff, that is also available.
Okay. And I appreciate, it's not just me, it is many people in the neighborhood, and some of them may or may not have been able to attend this evening. Fred and I are going to commit to our neighbors that we'll make sure that we have a list of all of the houses and all of the people that are in this neighborhood, so that if they can't get on to add their list, that we will add on their behalf so that they get informed.
Please.
And so
That's really what we're hoping for, that you and Fred and Maureen, who's on the call tonight, and others in the neighborhood that may be watching on cable, maybe they just send the emails to you and you get them to us. We want to make sure that everybody gets all the information we can provide.
And I will say that when Jack, who's my other neighbor, he wrote into the project manager, Hill, about, the dust that was rolling off and, the safety precautions for covering the fences so that the people that are driving down the roads that are looking over to see what's going on and not paying attention, especially now that there are more and more kids coming to the basketball court, that they were quick to respond to that, and guaranteed, him and others that they would make sure that the dirt was watered down because there were just clouds of dust. So they did react to that quickly. So we appreciate that component of it. So we'll, hold you to your commitment again, but we'll continue to voice and send emails and other concerns related to the overall project as we see them or we hear them.
Anne Marie, thank you very much. And that's all we can ask for. Please be assured that it was in no way intentional, and that I hope you hear the sincerity in my voice, that we're trying to do the very best that we possibly can. And unfortunately, there are one or two items that will get missed, and we need your assistance in not only keeping us in line, but also keeping the contractor and everybody else in line. So if you notice something that we were not able to pick up on, please bring it to our attention. And as you saw, we will be quick to react. Sometimes we might not be able to address the problem immediately, but at least you'll know that we are, we're aware of it and that we're working towards mitigation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the attendees?
I don't see anyone, so.
I don't either, but again, this information was shared to you on the website and can easily be found again on the website under, the documents tab. And if Anne Marie and others in the neighborhood, if you will be good citizens and good members of the community, gather the names, email addresses, send them off to us. We will make sure to include all of those into the correspondence list as well. I'll go back to the presentation. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, that's all that we had to present for this evening.
Let's move on, please. This item is going to be tabled at this point. The item on the discussion about the moves and things like that. We'll bring that up at another school building committee meeting. The next item on the agenda, I guess, is, I'm sorry,
Nope, there was high school, there's a high school update.
Okay. This will go under the next couple of meetings. We tried to get back on our first and third Wednesdays, but because of vacations and things like that, with key people like Mr. Dunlap, it's been a little difficult. So we will be having an update on the high school on July 22nd, again via Zoom. That will be a regular building committee meeting. And then we're planning on having a community forum on the following Wednesday on July 29th. Also going to be at 6 p.m. also by Zoom. And hopefully we can get this out. Steve, maybe you can help us with getting it on Notify Me. And, you know, we'll try to make sure a lot of people are aware of this, and we'll get it on all of the information on the websites. So our next two meetings related to the high school will be July 22nd and July 29th will be the forum.
Lindsay, you had your hand up.
It's just a quick comment. As people are heading back to work and more things are opening and sort of more is going on, I wonder if trying to do like a 6:30 start for some of our meetings, they're kind of shifting that a little bit, might make sense. I think there's just there's a lot of people that feel a lot of pressure trying to make this happen at 6, and I know that's kind of asking more of the professionals that work for us, maybe more so than the panelists who have like other jobs that are separate. But I feel like 6 is a lot of pressure for people to try to participate. And I just think that maybe moving forward, we should think about, even if it's a 30-minute shift, that might help with participation.
Thank you. We'll take it under advisement. Any other questions on this?
I have a question. Sorry, I was scrambling to raise my hand. Just as it relates to upcoming meetings, just looking at the website, it'd be nice to have on the landing page a list of the upcoming meetings, just because I think about all of those who aren't on the call, and an easy way that we can reach people to let them know and so they can schedule accordingly.
Kelly, if I may ask, are you asking for the elementary school, or, because this meeting that the chairman is discussing is for the high school project, and unfortunately, since that's an MSBA project and is separate, the website is separate as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'm sure Mark, you can speak to this. I think it's, you know, it's kind of both. I think that, you know, there's a lot going on right now in the community as it relates to these projects, and it'd be great just to have a place, and I know we've talked about this because of the overlap between the two project managers and the high school and the elementary school projects, but it'd be great to just find all of the meetings in a single location without having to go onto like the town's calendar. So just a thought.
I would suggest that we will hope that the communication subcommittee will have a very robust discussion about that as well, and maybe a place to put that.
Yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
The to-do list for the subcommittee is getting longer.
If the subcommittee can't meet, we'll do some of these things as soon as we can anyway.
No, definitely. We can meet via Zoom. I feel like I've become very proficient in Zoom now. So we'll figure out a way to get it done. Thank you for that, Kelly.
Thanks. Sorry for the screaming kid.
That's okay.
We all have them. I just give mine an iPad to keep her quiet.
Yeah, like, of course. Great. That was great timing. Everyone can't hear now.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
I don't see any.
I don't see any raised hands either, Chairman. I'm going to look to see if there's any comments or open it up to the attendees. Anybody from the public have any questions or comments in regards to the high school project update or in the upcoming community forum? I don't see any raised hands or any Q&A either.
Just one question, if I could.
Sure.
Just on the community forum, do we know, well, that's going to be Zoom as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Never mind. Wishful thinking.
Yeah, so am I, believe me. Okay,
If I may, I will progress to the next sheet, which was discussion and other business.
anyone have any other business they would like to have discussed? I don't see any.
No. I don't see any, and I do not, Chairman, I do not see any questions in the Q&A section either.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
John, roll call, please.
Kelly Curlbaum? Kelly, are you still there?
She's there.
There we go. Yes.
Okay, Leo Patterson,
Yes.
Vinnie Picciarelli,
Yes.
Lindsay Mosca,
Yes.
Dee Dee Galston.
Yes.
I think Heidi, is Heidi there?
Yes.
Heidi. Lori's not there. Steve Magoon,
Yes.
Paul Anastasi,
Yes.
Mark Sideris.
Yes, John Ports.
Yes.
Thank you all for this evening. We'll see you soon. Enjoy
Thank
the
you,
rest of
and
your
have a
evening.
great night.
All right.
Stay dry.
Thank you.
Bye.